From the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Fall Jersey. Joe Archino back here. And in sports, sometimes there are things that just can't be explained. They just happen. We see them play out in front of our eyes. And when it's all said and done, we don't really know how it happened, but it happened and we're better for it. And I think there's been a number of cases like that in the last couple of years, whether you look at Leicester City Football Club defying the odds, overcoming 5,000 to 1 odds to win the English Premier League title, or I think the most recent one, the most significant one, was the Cavaliers overcoming a 3-1 series deficit, beating the Golden State Warriors, bringing the city of Cleveland their first championship, and it seems like God so long, and I think more than anything, kind of overcoming something no one's ever done before in climbing back from a 3-1 series deficit, the manner in which they won it, avenging the wrongs from last season where they came up short and LeBron had everything on his back. But now I think I hope that we're seeing a similar story kind of play out in Major League Baseball. Now, I think in Major League Baseball this postseason so far, there are two scenarios that regardless of what happens, the fans win. I think the fan bases around the country, even if your team isn't in it at this point, I think you win regardless. If the Cubs win or if the Indians win, I really do think anybody around the country who's watching, or if that's our respective World Series, I think we all win, and that's certainly the matchup that I'm rooting for. But I think it's one of those things where if it did happen, yes, there's a science behind it. But if the Cubs are able to do this and finally bring home that World Series title, well, I don't need to say why that would be so significant. Everyone knows why it would be so significant. But for the Indians, I think how special would that be for the Cavaliers to finally bring the city of Cleveland the championship they've been waiting for so long, the manner in which they did it with the prodigy LeBron James, the native-born guy from that place winning it. I think the only thing that would make that even better and that would just add to an incredible story is the Indians winning. And obviously, the Indians took a big step toward making that happen as they advanced to the ALCS against the Toronto Blue Jays. And funny enough, it's just amazing how things work sometimes. The Cleveland Cavaliers had to play the Toronto Raptors, obviously, to advance. And then what happens? Now in baseball, the Cleveland Indians, they're going to have to play against the Toronto Blue Jays to advance to where they want to go. But I think more than anything, the question that I wanted to ask the most in this segment is about the LeBron James effect. And obviously, LeBron is one of, if not the most polarizing sports figure maybe in the world right now, and especially coming off a summer in which he reclaimed the NBA title, kind of reclaimed his place. Obviously, Stephen Curry had stolen a little bit of steam from him with what he did winning the title, winning back-to-back MVPs. But I think clearly with the way that LeBron played this summer in winning the championship, bringing the chip to the city of Cleveland, I think certainly he has taken the spotlight right back as the best player and the most prolific player in the world. But how powerful is the LeBron James effect? We've seen it, economically, socially, the LeBron effect has been able to do things that we have never seen other people be able to do. And when I talk about the LeBron effect, I, of course, am referring to the impact that he makes on all levels, on winning aspect, on positivity, on fan outlook, fan outreach, socioeconomics, you name it. I don't think that there's ever been a group of players, or there's been really a handful of players who really affect all socioeconomic levels. Michael Jordan was probably one, but even Jordan didn't have that significance on a place like LeBron has on Cleveland. And of course, because it's the storyline that happened for a team to get to draft a player of his rare once in a generation type of talent who's came from that place. It just doesn't work like that in sports a lot of times, but it did for Cleveland, and it's really almost a movie in the making where they draft him, he leaves, he tastes victory, he returns, and he brings victory back to that place that he left. The fans turn against him. You lay it all out there about the LeBron James legacy. It's a movie in the making. I'm sure Warner Brothers is making it as we speak. But I think more than anything, the question you have to continue to ask is, has the LeBron effect in a summer where the Cleveland Cavaliers won the title, brought so much joy, so much energy to the city of Cleveland, has that helped the Indians? And if the Indians do win the World Series this season, what does that say about the LeBron effect? And I really do think, look, sometimes maybe you go a little bit overboard and we're still kind of on the high, riding off the high from LeBron winning the championship, but I don't think that there's anything wrong, or you'd be wrong to say that the LeBron effect has helped this Indians team by any means. Now, obviously, you got to show up on the field and play. And first and foremost, that's something the Indians have done very well this season when it comes to timely hitting and getting good pitching. And Terry Francona's done a tremendous job with that team, with bringing in some players that they've needed to help them at the middle of the season and other points. But I think more than anything, this Indians team is very good. They're legit. But the LeBron effect, it's got its foot implanted in this team somehow. And if it was anywhere else, I wouldn't read into it as much, but just what we saw, it's like I said at the beginning of this segment, there are some things that just can't be explained, and I think the way that we saw the summer play out with the Cavaliers is something that we saw play out, we can map it out, but if you really try to dig into it deeply and explain it, it's not easy. And I think when this is kind of a circumstance where it's not the easiest to explain, but you would have to say that there's a little bit of truth to it, that LeBron James lives inside of Cleveland as a whole, inside of every sports team, inside of the Browns, inside of Ohio State football. Every aspect of Cleveland, Ohio has something to do with LeBron, and I think the way he won that championship was the personification of the city, the way they won it, the difficulties that they had to get through it. You know, when you look at LeBron's career, it's kind of like the city of Cleveland's history. I mean, it really is. There was the rise, there's the fall, there's the hard times, but they power through it because that's what Americans do, and that's what LeBron has done. And at the end of the day, Americans always are able to hoist up the victory in some way, shape, or form, and LeBron James is the perfect epitomization of that with what he was able to do with Cleveland. But, of course, I don't have a major dog in the race here, but I just think from a storyline standpoint, of course the Cubs are the easy choice, but to me, if the Indians are able to pull it off and win the World Series, and the city of Cleveland doesn't just get one championship, but they're able to get two, after all that long period that they've been waiting, that would just be something that kind of goes beyond words and beyond description. But if you ask me, the LeBron effect just has this polarizing appeal that's undeniable, and it has had its hand in all different forms of sports in Ohio, and I think more than anything, the Indians are another result of that and what they were able to do in sweeping the Red Sox. But until the next time, Jersey Joe Archino here at the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll catch everybody in the next segment.